Hi everyone, I hope you guys are okay and enjoying your Easter weekend. It just has to be, doesn't it, that because it's a bank holiday here in England, what's doing outside is raining! Hey! Always happens on a bank holiday. But anyway, enough about what's going on with the weather. I'm here to talk about the book I've been reading over the past couple of weeks, and that has been Northern Lights, the first book in the His Dark Materials trilogy written by Philip Pullman. Sorry, the cover's very shiny. It's the 20th anniversary edition where it's all shiny, so I hope you can properly see that on your screen. I first attempted to read the series when I was at university. My mum read the series and absolutely loved it, and she said, "You have to read them." And she gave me her copy of Northern Lights, and I tried to get into it, but I just couldn't. It's more my studying and all that lot just got in the way, and I said, no, I can't read this. I just can't get into it. I remember I think it was that same week or the week that she finished reading it was the week that the film came out on DVD, because my dad bought my mum the DVD. And I watched the film, but I couldn't, honest to God, it's been so long since I last watched it. I could only remember, or probably the last time I watched it was probably that time when she got the DVD. Because the only bits I could remember were the opening bit with Lyra hiding in the wardrobe, and Mrs. Coulter slapping the monkey in her demon, which is about, I don't know, maybe 2/3 of the way through the film. And that was it. I couldn't remember anything else. So I kind of went into reading this properly. I really wanted to read this. That I bought the book series a couple of years. Yes, it was. It was during the 2016 book challenge where I was reading one book a week for a year. And I put it in my jars for 2017, but I've only just picked it out, so far this year. And yeah, so I really want to properly give it a go. I start on kind of a blank canvas, as it were, because I couldn't remember really anything from what I read, from what I saw in the film, and I do have the radio play, but I bought the radio play, I think, probably like 2 years ago, and listened to it, and I really liked it, and, I've got a copy, but I haven't listened to it recently, so I couldn't remember events on the radio play either, so I was going to this kind of like complete blank canvas, really. So, at the beginning of this couple of weeks that I've taken to read this book, work was mental, everything was mental, and I read, I think, probably about 20 pages in a week. So for me, the first couple of chapters were really hard to get through, but then once I hit chapter 3, at the beginning of this week, and work started to calm down a little bit, I was able to actually spend my evenings reading rather than sleeping, and I just devoured this book. I really enjoyed it. I finished it last night, about 8:30 in the evening, and I was gonna do my review pretty much like I finished the book, I'll watch the film, and then I'll film my review. And I was hysterically crying, like ridiculous, ugly crying last night finishing this book, and I had to send a message to my mate Sarah and my sister. My sister, though, is on holiday at the moment, so she hasn't read it. But I sent a message to them going, "I'm ugly crying right now," and my mum. I sent a message to my mum as well. I was like, "I need ice cream," and I went and had some ice cream from my freezer to make me feel better, because I didn't anticipate that this was gonna really hit me. I didn't anticipate how good a story it is. I know that may sound strange, that I didn't think that this could be a good story, because else if I didn't think it was going to be a good story, why did I buy the books, because it has so many levels to it, this story. It really pulled my heart, and one of the characters especially, I won't say what happened to them, but the character of Roger ripped my heart to utter shreds, and he is the reason why I was hysterically crying at the end of the book last night. To the degree that I was like, no, I'm not going to watch the film tonight, I'm not going to do my review, and I'm just going to wait until the morning. And I got up really mega early this morning. I have no idea why. I just sat bolt upright in bed at 4:30 this morning. And I was like, oh my God, why am I awake? This is ridiculous. I couldn't get back to sleep. So I watched the film then, and everything. And yeah, so I had a bit of this funny week where I've been obsessively reading this book, going through so many emotions, then having myself go like had myself crying hysterically last night, gorging on ice cream to make me feel better, and then waking up at 4:30 this morning to watch the film. And just my head's all over the place. I'm going to sleep well tonight. I think that's fair to say. But anyway, I've been talking for 5 minutes. I haven't even said what the book is about. So, Northern Lights, as I said, is the first of a trilogy, and it follows a girl called Lyra, who lives in a kind of parallel world to us, where everything's kind of the same but different. And in her world, people's souls, rather than being inside them like how they are in our universe, they take the form of an animal that follows you. So you always have somebody with you. One thing I found so interesting about that is I love the fact that all the male characters have female animals and all the female characters have male animals. There's something about that. I love that. When you're a child, your demon, as it's called, changes form whenever they want to. They can be a cat one second, a dog another, a rat, and then a beetle. Any animal you can think of, they change into. But once you reach a point of puberty, they then take a form and they stay fixed in that form, and they stay that way until you die. And the thing about with your demons as such is that if you are injured, they feel it. If they are injured, you feel it. You are completely connected, and if one of you dies, then the other one dies. It's, how it is. She lives in Jordan College in Oxford with her uncle, Lord Asriel. And she's quite a wild child. She runs around, she plays on the roof, she does whatever she wants. She's a bit of a smart mouth to her, and life is just kind of games and fun. But in this universe, children are going missing, and she gets caught up in what is going on in her world with these children disappearing, and meets various people along the way. And this is all about her adventure and what happens to her. Now, we'll go a little bit more in depth than that, but in order to do that, I have to tell you about specific events that happen, and I don't want to do that in case you guys haven't read the book and you're interested in reading it. So, yeah, so that's basically the gist of the story. Now, on the front, you can see is this design, and this is very important. This is a device which she is given called Althometer, but sometimes it's referred to as the Golden Compass, which is why the film version is called the Golden Compass. And it basically reveals the truth. It's kind of, it's like a compass, and all around the edge are these images, these like 30, I think it's 36 of them, and these 3 hands, and in pointing to the various images, and each image can have multiple meanings, so depending on the coordinates that you put can reveal different things, and it tells you the truth about people, about events, whatever you really ask for. And Lyra is the person who can read it. There's only 6 of them in existence in the world, and she is able to read it. And the things it shows her, the things that she learns about the world are really interesting to read, and it helps her in her mission to find out why these children are disappearing, where they are, and what is happening to them. Now, I have to say, I haven't actually read a Philip Pullman book. I just realised before reading this, apart from my attempt when I was at university to originally read this, and I didn't get very far. So I haven't read any of his work before. I didn't know what to expect. I recalled from watching the film that it was quite a fantasy, novel and everything, and I love sci-fi fantasy stuff, as you guys know. So I was just going into this and see how it was going. It never really occurred to me that it was going to be such an interesting take on organised religion. Aspects of our society, how we feel about, certain things. There's things that are so despicable, that things that you can do to humans, and you kind of have this embodiment in the form of Mrs. Coulter. And as my mum said when I spoke to her the other day about it, after I'd finished the book and I was talking to her more about it, she was saying how Mrs. Coulter is a woman who believes that because what she's doing is in the name of something, that makes her believe that what she's doing is right when it's not. And the way, and my mum describing it like that, it made me think of other things that happen in society, and the same aspect where someone says, oh yeah, this is, it may be, I suppose it's cruel, but it's in the name of something else, so therefore it must be good. Like, no, it's not. So his take on organised religion, his take on the Bible as well, which was referred to quite a bit in this, it's so intriguing. Very powerful piece of writing, very powerful. I went through all kinds of emotions in this thing, and I absolutely loved every single minute of reading this book. I laughed, I cried, I gasped. I had parts where I got off the bus on the way to work and I had to sit on a bench outside my office finishing the chapter, because I couldn't possibly contemplate going into my office without finishing the chapter I was on first. I just fell in love with this world. But yeah, the ending especially really got to me. I remember actually seeing Philip Pullman at the Cheltenham Literature Festival a few years ago, where he was promoting one of his books. I think it was like a fairy story collection, from what I can recall. It was very interesting how he was talking about religion then. And it didn't really click with me. But now, having read this book, I'm like, wow, I get what he was talking about. And, you cannot escape certain images, certain references and such to Christianity in this book. And as somebody who's not religious either, I didn't find it hard to read. The key goal with Lyra is that she wants justice, she wants truth, she wants to save her friends, and she's going to do anything she can to save her friends, and I love her for that. And if that's the key powerful message that he's sending through, that love will win, that you can do it, you can save your friends, and that's kind of like J.K. Rowling, J.R.R. Tolkien and all that lot who have said, with Tolkien, the smallest person can change the course of the future. Lyra can, you can. So I love the messages that come through in this book. I really love the characters. I would talk more about the characters, but in order to do so, I'm going to have to talk about certain events, and I don't want to do that because I don't want to spoil things for you guys if you haven't read it. But I strongly, strongly recommend that you do read this book. It is so full of wonderful characters, most wonderful settings. You can totally, because this universe is pretty much, a parallel universe of ours, except for a few little details. You can see this world so clearly. It's ridiculous. And all the characters are just wonderful. I suppose if I had to do like a really, really nitpicky thing, the only negative I can think of with this book is so minor nitpicky for me, is that characters' names are referred to as their full names throughout the entire book. So you meet them for the first time. It's like there's a character, Serafina Pekkala. She is a witch, and you meet her, and she says, "All right, I'm Serafina Pekkala." Right, okay. And every single time she was referred to in the book from that point on is her full name. Just like every single character, it's their full name. And sometimes I'm a bit like, you don't have to say the full name, especially like in a battle sequence and people are screaming for people and running about everywhere. You don't have to say the full name. But that is me trying to find the only possible negative I could think of this book, and that is nitpicky stuff. So, you know, I'm even saying that that's not even that great of a negative. But yes, I loved it. Absolutely loved it, and I can't say any more really about it and more in depth about it without revealing stuff that has happened. But I found it so amazing how he wrote this story, and people who I thought I trusted, I shouldn't have, and people I didn't trust, I should have. I just went through the ringer with this book, and I am so excited to read the next one. Now, as I said, that this morning I woke up mega early and I watched The Golden Compass, and oh god, this was an absolute train wreck of a film. I feel like okay, yes, they got certain things that happen, but they gave certain events that happen to one character to a different character. They completely cocked up the ending. I'm sorry. They just basically, like, just went, you know what, we're going to chuck out the ending of the book and patch over, like, with the thinnest tape, this alternate ending to make it all sunshine and daisies and all that lot, or as best as we possibly can to end this film. I think the reason why they did that was because they anticipated this was going to be a really big hit, and that there was going to be a sequel, and then they could do what is the ending of Northern Lights in the second film, and that never happened. But then it's, you know, at the same time, it's like the endings, especially the character of Roger, I felt that was a complete slap in the face for the fans. The ending for Lord Asriel as well, and Mrs. Coulter. Right, casting. Nicole Kidman should never have been cast as Mrs. Coulter in this film. I'm sorry, she's a good actress, I will say that. You know, I'm not denying that. But for this role, it was just no. She was too harsh, she was too cold, she's too pretty. And I know that probably sounds a bit weird when you say, oh, she's too pretty to play Mrs. Coulter. But the thing about Mrs. Coulter is that she is she is a woman of status in her academic career, and she is young, and she's pretty, but she's not the glamour model that they make her out to be in this film. She can be harsh, as you see in the film, but she's got this real soft side as well. And I felt like the whole establishment of Lyra really bonding with her was just gone, and it just made her appear like this ultra bitch. And I just, oh god, it was wrong on so many levels. So yeah, that's not because of Nicole's performance, because she did what she could with what she got. But for the casting choice, I'm sorry, Nicole, you shouldn't have been cast in this film. Yeah, Daniel Craig as Lord Asriel, he was alright, but again, they didn't give him much, and they screwed up his ending completely. Various other cast members, they were alright. It just kind of felt like casting was alright to awful. The screenplay was really quite poor. They depended on the visuals. They really depending on the visuals for this film to work, and nothing else. And it's so sad, because this book is so good, and then they come up with this garbage. It's awful. Anyway, that's my rant over. Sorry if I sounded particularly harsh during that, but it's just oh no, I was just going no all the way through this. And I think actually if I had watched the film right after I finished the book, when I was hysterically crying, I would probably be crying even more because of how poor that film was. And it, even at, early this morning, it felt like a slap in the face to me. So when I was in an emotional state last night, I'm sure it would have felt much worse. Now, the adaptation that I really recommend, because I really do enjoy it, is the BBC radio adaptations of His Dark Materials. So last night, after I stopped crying, I re-listened to Northern Lights because I got this box set a few years ago and I listened to it when I got it and everything, but I haven't really listened to it since. So I've re-listened just to Northern Lights. I haven't listened to the next two because I want to listen to them after I've read the books. Not that I don't I don't mistrust it or anything, but the thing is that I don't want it spoiled. So, even though I have listened to them before, it's been so long again that I can't really remember the events. So I just want to avoid being spoiled at all. So yes, I'm going to listen to them after I've read each of the other books. But the BBC are always absolutely fantastic with adapting various books and such into radio plays, and they did another stellar job with Northern Lights. It follows the book absolutely perfectly. It's well paced. It's just over, I think, 2 hours long, so it's not long at all, probably the equivalent of watching film, and it's really well cast. Okay, one little irk that I have is that sometimes the girl who plays Lyra does annoy me a little bit, but that's just like me trying to find something wrong with this book. That is nitpicky. But other than that, I really do enjoy the radio play of Northern Lights. This is the box set of all three. You can buy each of them individually, and the individual CDs, these are the three covers for the individual CDs. So if you want to buy the box set, that's what the box set looks like, and then the individual ones, you can buy them and they look like that. So yes, I strongly recommend this. I don't recommend this in the slightest, and I very, very strongly recommend this. Okay guys, that's all I'm going to say about Northern Lights. I hope you enjoyed this review. Have you read this book, or seen the film, or listened to the radio play? I'd love to know what you think. You can leave me a comment in the comments box below. If you give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, tally up to you, I'll let you decide. And I will be back shortly to announce what my next book is on my list. And I've also bought some new books, so you'll be able to see which new books I've also been purchasing. Right then guys, bye!